You know that feeling when a door just slams shut in your face? Like an opportunity's gone or a path is just totally blocked. It's frustrating, right? Well, today, we're going to flip that completely on its head. We're diving into this incredible ancient promise about an open door. And not just any door, but one that promises permanent access. So let's unpack what that really means. So here it is, straight from the book of Revelation. These are words spoken by Jesus. And just let that promise sink in for a second. I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. Wow, that's an absolute statement of divine power and a really personal invitation all at the same time.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What are we actually talking about here? Is this a literal door somewhere, some kind of secret opportunity? Or is it a metaphor for something else entirely? I mean, what kind of door, once God opens it, can nobody shut? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to solve this mystery, the first thing we have to get is that we are not talking about a physical object. The key that unlocks this whole idea is realizing the door isn't a what, it's a who.
That's right. And the text is super clear about this. This isn't about finding some secret spot on a map or performing a certain ritual. The entire promise of access, of a new way forward, is actually embodied in a single person. And here we have it in his own words from the Gospel of John. Jesus just comes right out and says it. I am the door. He's the way. He's the point of entry into salvation, into fellowship, into a completely new life. So that open door in Revelation, it's Jesus himself, offered as the way to God. And this gets really cool when you look at the original Greek. The phrase is thura anoigmene. Now, that doesn't just mean a door is kind of cracked open by accident. No. It means a door has been purposefully set open. It's intentional. It's a deliberate divine invitation being extended. So if Jesus is the door, that naturally leads to the next question, right? What had to happen for this door to be opened? I mean, an open door implies there used to be a barrier, something that had to be moved out of the way. Let's take a look. This is the exact moment. At the very instant Jesus died on the cross, the Gospels tell us that this massive, super thick veil in the Jerusalem temple, the one that separated God's holy presence from humanity, was torn in two. And get this, not from the bottom up, like a person might do, but from the top down. And that's the whole point. That torn veil was the sound of the door swinging wide open. The physical barrier was just a symbol of the spiritual separation. And when it was miraculously destroyed, it shouted to the world that the way to God was now open for everyone, directly, all because of the sacrifice of Jesus. And you can just see the whole thing laid out step by step. First, he came and lived among us. Then, he made the ultimate sacrifice for sin. That sacrifice tore down the barrier, symbolized by that veil, and bam, a new and living way, that open door, was established for all time. Okay, so we've got what the door is and how it was opened, but who exactly is this incredible promise for? Who is this invitation addressed to? And the answer is actually surprisingly specific. See, this promise was really a message for two groups of people. It was for those who were faithful but just exhausted by all the corrupt religious rules of the old system. And it was also for new believers who are facing all sorts of trials. It was a call to shift from trying to earn it all to just resting in what was already finished. And here's the description of the people who get this promise. It's not for the superstars, the super powerful, or the totally self-sufficient. It's for those with just a little strength, the ones who have just held on, kept his word, and stayed true. All right, let's go back to the Greek for a second, because this part is just beautiful. The phrase is oligon dunamin ekes, and what it means, literally, is having little power or small remaining strength. Now, you might think that sounds like a criticism, right? But it's the exact opposite. It's acknowledging that you're in a state of total dependence on God. And that's a state Jesus sees and deeply honors. And this is the incredible paradox here. That feeling of weakness, of not having enough, that's not what disqualifies you. It's actually what qualifies you. When your little strength makes you rely completely on his great strength, that dependence is seen as real, profound faithfulness. Now we get to maybe the most powerful part of this whole promise. It's not just that the door is open. The real knockout punch is that it's guaranteed to stay open. This is all about absolute, unshakable security. Just let that sink in for a minute. The access that was bought on the cross isn't some temporary thing. You're not on probation. It is a permanent and totally irreversible reality for anyone who walks through that door.
And the Greek here is just so forceful. Ode tis dunatai klissai. This phrase basically means it is utterly, completely impossible for anyone, any power, any being, anywhere to close this door. It's a flat-out declaration of supreme, uncontested authority. And you see this same idea echoed so powerfully by the Apostle Paul over in Romans. He says nothing in existence, not death, not life, not angels, not demons, literally nothing in all of creation can shut this door or separate us from the love of God. So, let's just list them out. What's powerless against this door? Man-made religion? Nope. Corrupt leaders and crumbling empires? They can't shut it. What about the accusations of other people, or even the forces of hell itself? They have zero power to close what Jesus has opened.
All right, we've looked at the what, the how, the who, and the why of this open door. But this isn't just some ancient theology lesson. It's a real, present-day invitation. So let's bring it all home and see what this means for you, right here, right now.
So let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways? First, he sees you even when you feel weak. Second, he is the door, the only way. Third, that access he gives you, it's permanent and it's secure. And finally, realizing you need him isn't a weakness. It's actually your greatest strength.
When you boil it all down, it's just this simple truth. It's not about trying to earn your way in or doing all the right rituals. It's about accepting an invitation and receiving a person. The one who is standing in the doorway saying, "Come on in."
And so, here we are, right back where we started, standing in front of that open door. It's been set before you, it's open, it's visible, and it's totally secure. The only question left, and it's really the most important one of all, is what's your next step?